Let's do a read and let's talk about some NBA trades over the last decade.
Yeah, guys, you've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel here on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and it's America's #1 sports book. Well, we have something different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then, with YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel at any time. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to download America's #1 sportsbook.
So Bleacher Report put out an article yesterday, I think it was 2 days ago, it was actually on Monday, that regraded the 10 biggest NBA trades of the last decade, Jason. One of those was the Donovan Mitchell trade from Utah to Cleveland. So Ant picked 5 of his favorite deals from that, and we'll start with the Donovan trade and go to some others. And see how, in hindsight, a few years post-mortem, how each team did in said trade. So we'll start with the Cavs trade and how Bleacher Report then graded the return the Cavs got and the return the Jazz got. And in there, post-mortem regrades for the Donovan Mitchell trade, the Jazz got an A and the Cavs got a B+. Jason, do you want to start on that? Do you feel like that's fair, off, right, wrong?
I'd give the Cavs an A. I think both sides got out of it what they wanted. I mean, there's still a lot of the trade still to go. Obviously, we're just getting into the meat of the picks that Utah's going to get, and who knows what they can do. I mean, at this point, they look like they're going to be middle to low picks, which is obviously what the Cavs want. But, I mean, how can you give the Cavs anything below an A when Donovan just re-signed?
Talk that talk, Jason.
Had Donovan not signed the extension, yeah, the trade could have been an absolute disaster. But that's not how this went. And, I mean, Markkanen's turned into a terrific player. We kind of knew when he left here that was a possibility. I've never been big on Collin. I just think he's sort of an empty calories kind of scorer. Agbaji, is
Can't
a whatever.
Play.
Yeah.
Can't play.
But the picks are still to come. So Utah did fine. Like, Utah did very well in this deal. I think both sides won.
Yeah, they gave the Cavs a B+ in the explanation, saying it hasn't fully raised their ceiling to the point where you would hope 2 years after trading for a stars. But I'm calling BS on that. I think both teams got an A. This is one of the rare trades in NBA history where it's a superstar package for a superstar player that's worked out almost to perfection for both teams.
Yeah.
The Jazz wanted picks and young pieces to build around. Lauri Markkanen has turned into an All-NBA, All-Star caliber player, and they got a ton of first-round picks and pick swaps to continue to build the future of their franchise. And the Cavs got a star back who then re-signed with the team, solidifying their foundation for the next 5, 6, 7 years, hopefully, to build around Donovan Mitchell. And although they've only won one playoff series in 2 years, that doesn't diminish the trade in its own right. And because Donovan re-signed, I think giving them anything but an A is a miss. I think it's one of those rare trades where both teams got exactly, to Jason's point, exactly what they wanted from the deal. And if they could do it again tomorrow, I think both say yes again.
Yeah, I thought Bleacher Report, man, I thought they was hating on the Cavs, to be totally honest with you. I took a screenshot of it, and I made a reel, and I paid a little Boosie, tell me why they hating on me.
I mean, it's not giving an F, but B+
I mean, no, they
ain't
still
that
hating
far
me.
off.
Let me tell you why. Because if you look at it, like, Lauri and Spida cancel each other out. To your point, he re-signed here. So that automatically makes it an A. But it ain't like Collin Sexton didn't have developed into a starter. Agbaji really ain't made no noise. And those draft picks is unproven commodities, right? Lauri Markkanen then turned into a All-NBA player, All-Star player, somebody that they want to build their franchise around. And clearly the Cleveland Cavaliers have made, their choice. Like, when you made that trade, I'm building this thing around Donovan Mitchell. You got him to re-sign. Anything other than this being an A both ways is just, to me, hating on the Cavs for no reason.
I would rather have Donovan than Markkanen. As good as Markkanen is,
100%, yeah.
And the fact that Markkanen is bigger and can play the three, which, I mean, give Cleveland credit for that because he never played the three before he came here. I'd still rather have Donovan.
Me too.
Now, for as good as Markkanen is, can you look at that and say the Cavs overpaid for everything else, given that they are moderately close? But in the NBA, it's such a star-driven league. We've talked about that before. You always want the top-end talent, which the Cavs have. So, and you're right. Like, they won one playoff series, and they kind of rigged the system a little bit to get the matchup that they want. And the first year was a flame-out. I put a lot of it on Donovan. Donovan was terrible against the Knicks. He admits he was terrible against the Knicks. It was a terrible series. But when you have the injuries that you have in this year, and you lose to the team that was far and away the best team all year long, and won the championship, I don't know that you can ding them for losing to the team that won the championship. It's the way that it fell timing wise. You got them in the second round because you wanted so badly to win that first playoff series. So then this is the backside to it. You got the playoff win that you really, really needed, but the downside is you had to catch this team in the second round, and then you had the injuries and everything else. So, I mean, listen, I've been hard on the Cavs plenty in previous turns, but in this, once he signed that extension, that's an A, man. Both sides win.
They gave it a B+, so it's not like they're far off, but I do think it's an A. He re-signed. At the end of the day, that was the main goal when you traded for Donovan Mitchell is you have 2 years to prove essentially this is a place you could win a championship and compete at the highest levels to get him to re-sign an extension. And what did he do this offseason? He put pen to paper and signed that extension.
That trade was a huge risk for the Cavs, for Kobe Altman. It was a big risk. And they got the payoff for it. And not to mention, like I thought the Kyrie trade was terrible. We'll go back to Boston when Danny Ainge was in Boston. And Kobe and Danny Ainge linked up on the Boston deal, and I thought that was awful. And now here they go linking up again in Utah, and you kind of look at it and go, did Danny get him again?
Because he's Danny.
No, yeah, because he's Danny.
Because he's Danny.
And Danny don't make bad trades.
Right.
Danny's
and this wasn't a bad trade for Utah.
Danny's coming up on this list again, and if there's one thing I think big picture from the rest of these trades we're going to learn, don't trade with Danny Ainge. If you're a superstar player, or if Danny Ainge is a superstar player that you want, you're paying 175% of what you think you're actually paying. He seems to hit on every one of these big trades.
Jason is right. I don't think you can never underestimate the magnitude of how significant that moment was because he's not LeBron James. He's not from Northeast Ohio. And to make that decision to re-up with the Cavaliers and, by all accounts, he really seems to love the city, love playing for the Cavs, love being the face of the Cavs, et cetera. And it's funny because I always had this internal belief that he would resign. I had no type of evidence, and it was you. Like the question that you asked him during that introduction press conference had nothing to do with basketball, and for whatever reason, my internal intuition was just like, he's not that type of superstar player. He asked him something about the weather, and he said, "Man, I love the fall. I love the winter. It gives me the opportunity to dress." That told me, okay, this is not a guy that's looking to go in Miami to South Beach. He's not looking to go to the Lakers, none of that. Plus, he's from Connecticut. He's from New York. Like, he's used to the cold. So it'd be little things that you can see with certain guys that kind of tell you something about their character to where certain things ain't really all that impressive to them as the outside noise think it is.
I mean, I do think he seriously considered the idea of if New York was open or Miami, but at the end of the day, Cleveland gives him the best basketball chance to win.
There were a lot of mitigating factors that went into this summer, but it doesn't matter. He signed the
contract. Yeah, that's the only thing that matters.
Darren texted me, said you lost your goddamn mind. Just a heads up. He wanted me to tell you that too. So, and let's get to the next deal. This was the Kevin Durant from the Nets to the Suns trade.
He texted me too.
The Suns got Durant in the deal. The Nets got Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and every first-round pick and pick swap. For this deal, Jason, they gave the Nets an A++++, and the Phoenix Suns a B. What do you think about those regrades in hindsight?
I like the Nets. I agree with that. I would actually probably I mean, I think we're quibbling here, just like I think they were a little low. I think they're a little high, maybe B-, C+. I don't think KD is quite the player that he was, and it's not even – it's more the cap and the position that Phoenix is in with cap building or with roster building because of the cap restrictions on this, which is not necessarily KD's fault, but the Suns overpaid for Kevin Durant. I do think that.
Yep.
Because of the stage he's at in his career. They had a new owner coming in. He was trying to make a splash, and this is how you wind up in situations like this. I agree on the Nets side. The Suns, I'd probably go B-, C+.
Yeah, I agree on the Nets side. I'll probably leave it where it's at right now for the Suns. I mean, I don't agree with Jason as far as like him not being the same player. Of course, there is some decline because he's a little older, but I think Kevin Durant is still a dog and still a guy that, you know,
I'd love him on my team.
I was just about to say, like, I think all of us are trying to figure out a package to get him to Cleveland if we could. But I mean,
I tried.
They gave up they gave up a lot, and when you see the return on investment that they got, I mean, those are some quality basketball players that got bright futures ahead of them.
Yeah, I think you could say it's a little high just because they gave up the same amount of picks that everyone else gave up.
Mm-hmm.
Markkanen wasn't established to the same level Mikal Bridges was when they made the trade, and Cam Johnson, and they gave up both those guys plus all the picks. Those guys were younger, so the Nets nailed that one. They flipped Mikal Bridges into another set of 100 draft picks. They essentially turned Kevin Durant into like 15 draft picks.
I just can't wait till we say future Cleveland Cavaliers.
Which is crazy.
Cam Johnson. I can't wait till we can say that.
They'll put him in a luxury tax. There's not a chance now. I can't imagine. There's no chance Cam Johnson's coming with his $25 million salary.
Right now?
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about it before with it. If it's the right player, then you press go and you go into the tax. If the right guy becomes available, I don't know how.
He's been available all summer, so must not look at him.
But I don't know, what do they have that the Nets want?
Niang and 4 second-round picks, but that's not enough.
That's not enough.
Yeah,
and they don't have any first-round picks to trade. Just because the guy's available doesn't mean you have the assets to give him up. If Brooklyn would take that deal, Cam Johnson would be here and they'd be in the tax, and you go.
And you just deal with it. Exactly.
Yeah.
So B minus, I think it's right in the right range. I think the bigger misfire for the Suns was the Bradley Beal deal, which put them up against the second apron of luxury tax completely.
That's fair.
Completely handcuffed everything else. The Durant deal in itself, if you get a chance to have Kevin Durant, you go get Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Was Bradley Beal worth handcuffing the rest of your roster? I will die on the hill that he is never worth that 100 out of 100 times. He's a good player, but that's about it. He's a good player. So
Kevin Durant or Donovan Mitchell, who do you want on your team right now?
This year?
Just right now. Who do you want on your team?
Can't have both?
Nope, can't have both.
And the rest of the roster is what it is?
Who do you want on your team right now?
For 1 year, it's probably still Durant.
I would agree.
1 year it's Durant.
For more than 1 year, it's Mitchell.
And that's kind of the point I'm making. Is it's not an easy question to answer.
Yeah.
But Kevin Durant's 35 years old. Yeah. How much longer is he going to play? He's not LeBron.
Well, hold on. Last time we did a Cavs show last week, I said for this year, would you rather have LeBron or Donovan? And you said, thank God I'm not on the show Thursday because you don't want to answer that. So now you're just going to take my question, change it a little bit, and throw it back on us on air.
I forgot about that.
That's why I hate doing a show with this guy.
I forgot about that. But no,
I literally waited until we finished to say, hey, Jason, I'm asking you this now when we're not on air because I know it's going to put you in a weird spot.
Yeah.
And then Jason, that's what Jason does. I'm going to do a Cavs show by myself tonight.
But I mean, Donovan's 27. His length, his window is much more significant. Yeah. KD's got maybe 2 years at this level.
And he's still so damn good.
He is.
He's still so damn good.
I don't think he's LeBron. I don't think he's going to play to 40.
No.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't think his body could sustain that.
I agree.
Either.
I agree.
He's had some injury stuff. Next trade was the Kyrie trade from Brooklyn to Dallas. They gave the Mavs an A for that trade. The Nets got Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, the first, and a couple seconds back in return. They gave the Nets for that trade a B. Jason, it's a Kyrie trade, Kyrie trade. This one didn't really move the needle for me.
It didn't move the needle for me at all. I mean, when I look at this situation, I kept it real simple. The Mavs found themselves in the NBA Finals, so it's like it's one of those situations to where, hell yeah, you won that trade. You traded for Kyrie Irving to get to that point. Ultimately, to win it, you came up short. But the goal when you made that trade was to, a run to the NBA Finals, and you did that. So to me, the Mavs definitely got an A. As far as the Nets getting a B, I mean, like I said, draft picks is unproven commodities, right? And most time in the NBA, if you're not really a lottery pick, the impact that you have on your team, it takes a minute for you to see that, right? And so Finney-Smith has been, rumored in different trades and different things, including the Cavs and other teams. So, I mean, I guess the B would be a stretch for them, but the Mavs definitely deserve an A.
I think both teams get an A on this.
You're missing one thing in the Kyrie part of this. I'm curious if Jason's going to bring it up.
He had no value.
That's it.
His value was flatlined at the time. And so for the return that you got, given that his value was as suppressed as it was, I think it's an A for the Nets. And hand up, when the Dallas made this trade, I thought, what are you doing? Why would you want Kyrie anywhere near Luka?
And why are you paying that much when no one else wants to touch him
for him? Yeah, and I thought that he would sort of poison the well in Dallas like he did everywhere else he's been. And to Kyrie's credit, I think he's grown up a little bit. Certainly he's grown up since I was around him. He's grown up a lot since then. And I don't think he's the same guy that he was in some of those other places, and it's worked. They had a vision, Dallas saw it, they went after it, they pursued it, and it worked much better than I thought that it was going to. So I again, on both of those, I think both sides got what they wanted. I'm surprised Brooklyn, at the time, I thought Brooklyn got way more for him than I thought that they would. So that's two A's for me.
That is a scary backcourt. That is a scary backcourt. Kyrie with the ball in his hands is something special. Like
poetry in motion.
And we already know what Luka is and what Luka is turning into. Like that's fierce to have to go up against that night in and night out.
Kyrie's a killer, man.
Yeah, he really is. Like we learned that firsthand real quick.
When I went down to Dallas last year to help them shoot the pilot for the Ultimate Dallas Sports Show, which is up and running, by the way, so shout out to them. That was like the main crux of the pilot we shot. They had just traded for Kyrie. Could it work? How would it work? We had a bunch of different Mavs players on and the Mavs play-by-play guy. And it was really cool to see before it happened, them like envision what it could be.
Yeah.
And then they had that little stretch where they ended up tanking last season to get the draft pick that turned into Derek Lively. You're like, oh my goodness, what a catastrophe. But then it turned exactly into what you would have wanted in 2023-24. They make the finals, so win-win for both. Next trade, the other one with Danny Ainge that we mentioned earlier, was the Rudy Gobert trade. Gobert goes to Minnesota. Minnesota sends a couple guys who are solid role players who have eventually been traded off, and a ton of picks. They gave the T-Wolves an A- for this one, and the Jazz an A+, which goes to show, again, if you're going to trade with Danny Ainge, buyers beware.
Yeah.
That dude somehow gets insane haul. And we're talking Rudy Gobert here.
Yeah.
That's essentially what the Cavs gave up for Donovan Mitchell and essentially what the Suns gave up for Kevin Durant. And we're talking Rudy Gobert. And Durant, Mitchell, Gobert is like what they got back. So kudos for the Jazz for pulling off the heist of a century.
I mean,
it's worked out for Minnesota, though. It has.
I mean, but how many defensive player of the years he got? Like 3?
3 or 4.
Three or four. So, like, to me, he was the perfect compliment to Cat because all Cat want to do is stand outside and shoot threes anyway. And so if you're going to play two bigs together like that, you need one dude that's a defensive dude and one dude who can stretch the floor. So, I mean, Rudy Gobert is a solid basketball player. Jazz got a lot, man. They always end up with them picks, man. He seemed like he'd be having picks forever.
They got to do some of those picks. Like, Utah's still not very good, and we keep saying that they're winning these trades, and they are. But at some point, you got to put this together and make a move in the West, and we'll see if Utah can do that or not. I agree with. I mean, I think Utah knocked it out of the park for this. Prior to last season, Minnesota's grade I think would have been a lot lower. I'm not a big Gobert guy. I probably would have given them probably a D prior to last season. I might give them a B minus now. I would not give them an A for this trade. I didn't love the pairing with Cat. It was better this year than it had been previously. So A+ for Utah is fine with me. I would probably say B- for Minnesota, and that's only because they had such a good year.
So help me out because you said, that pairing was better this year than last year. How much of that, in your opinion, had to do with the huge step forward that Anthony Edwards took?
That certainly was a factor in just the overall play of the Timberwolves. And it's just a maturation process of, I thought you were going to take it back to Donovan and Darius, of just comfortability, experience, feeling it out. And Cat can shoot, or you could say we're Evan and Jarrett, here. Cat's a far better shooter than both of those guys in Cleveland, which helps it to work.
Yeah, because I guess the point I was making was more so on the Evan Mobley front. We are starting to see Anthony Edwards grow into this dog.
Oh yeah,
he's the alpha. It's his team.
You can see how him developing his game makes Minnesota so much better, and then the other players are able to play off each other more, etc. And if Evan Mobley, man, he can get to that level here, we're going to start seeing things open up and things that used to be issues before, hopefully not be issues when it comes to style and fit anymore. So hopefully so.
Yeah, I'm not giving Minnesota an A- for that. I know he's helped. I know they reached the Western Conference Finals, but he's unplayable in crunch time of playoff games. I just go back to that Luka shot where Luka intentionally switched onto the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's got 7 first-team All-NBA defenses. Where was he against Team USA in the championship game? Yeah. Relegated to the bench. When it matters, Rudy Gobert can't be on the court, and you gave up a king's ransom for a guy who certainly helps in the regular season. And you'd rather have Rudy Gobert than not have Rudy Gobert. But this dude cannot find himself in a meaningful crunch time 5 that actually can compete for a championship. And you traded the amount of assets for a guy that you want leading your team.
It wasn't even just the switch off. It was the step back off of one leg on him, too.
It was
ridiculous. And Jamal Crawford called it.
Yeah, but they hunt him out. It's not just Luka. There's never been a player with a resume like Rudy Gobert. 4 Defensive Player of the Years, 7 All-NBA, first-team defensive teams, who is as disrespected and disliked by the rest of the league than Rudy Gobert. It's a fascinating case. If you took his resume and blurred out his name and you gave it to a random basketball fan and said, is this guy a Hall of Famer? 100 of 100 times. That's a Hall of Fame resume? Is Rudy Gobert a Hall of Famer?
Nope.
Is Rudy Gobert a Hall of Famer?
No.
I don't even think he's close.
Not at all.
Makes no sense.
Although everybody gets into Basketball Hall of Fame. Everybody gets
Fair
in.
enough. Fair enough. All right, last trade, and then hopefully we'll get a DD on here in a sec, was the Tyrese Haliburton for Domantas Sabonis trade. A rare star-for-star trade that seemingly worked out for both teams. The Bleacher Report gave both these guys an A. They did give the Pacers an A+. A trade that needed to happen for both players, at least the key players in this trade, to kind of unlock their full potential. And I think if you asked both to do it again, there'd be not an ounce of hesitation.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree. Both teams win this trade right here. I mean, you look at what the Sacramento Kings is building. They are absolutely fun to watch. You see Sabonis start to come into his own. Haliburton, he was in that backcourt with Fox. So he get free. He gets a change of scenery, and he gets a team of his own that he become the on-court general of. So I see nothing wrong here. I think this is one of those rare instances where both teams actually absolutely aced it.
Tristan puts it over the top for Indiana. I totally forgot.
He was part. When I was making this graphic this morning, I was like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah, I totally forgot he was part of that deal. No, Earl, I agree with you. They had to split up Tyrese, or they felt like they had to split up Tyrese and De'Aaron Fox. They chose Fox, moved Tyrese. Domas has been exactly what the Kings needed, both, especially on the offensive side of the ball. He's the big in the middle. Mike Brown loves him. I spent time talking to Mike about Domas and what he means to that team. And just the pairing to him and De'Aaron, both teams knocked it out of the park and got exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, the Kings were irrelevant for like decades and decades, like 20 years of pure irrelevance.
Yeah.
They trade for Domas, and him and De'Aaron Fox turned into one of the best pick-and-roll pairings in the entire NBA. They run their offense through Domas for the first 3 quarters, and they let De'Aaron Fox take over in the fourth. And in Indiana, whatever.
I got one for you.
Haliburton turns into an all-NBA caliber player, makes the Olympic team even as a 12th man.
Better than he ever would have been in Sacramento playing alongside you.
Their pick and roll, is it better than his dad's and Damian Stoudemire's?
Oh, boy.
Remember that one?
Different eras.
Yeah. His dad was cold.
Fox is better than Stoudemire, though. Stoudemire was good, but De'Aaron Fox is very good.
Yeah.
Dame was nasty.
I loved Damon Stoudemire when I was a kid. I don't know why. I loved
him. he
had like the Minnie Mouse tattoo.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Sabonis was a dog when he played for Portland, too.
They said he's Jokic is closer to Sabonis than he was to any player previously. Big Sabonis. Arvydas.
Yeah.
And I just heard Ant say Aditi, which means he's checking her new system, and we are thrilled and fingers crossed that Aditi's
that it's working.
New technology is going to work. Any other trades? There was 5 more on the list as we wait for Aditi. We only made the graphics for 5.
What were the other 5? Do you remember?
I'll pull them up.
I'm trying. This is over how long? The last how many
decade.
Years? The last decade. I mean, that's actually an impressive list. That both sides. Teams are getting pretty good at this trade thing, and
I'm
both
just
sides.
glad we was on the list.
Yeah,
I'm just glad to be on the list.
But when both sides, it's not. It feels like it's rare that both teams can get exactly what they want, and the deal works out for both sides. You always feel like you have one winner and one loser in these deals.
All right, next one.
But maybe they're getting better. Maybe teams are getting better at identifying needs and value.
And we'll do this real quick till we got Aditi. But the Lakers trading for Russell Westbrook. And 2 second-round picks for Kuzma, KCP, Montrezl Harrell, and a first-round pick. They gave the Lakers an F, and the Wizards an A.
So we just got done talking about how both sides won. That is not
that was horrible.
Both sides won.
The Bulls trading for Vucevic. They gave up Wendell Carter Jr., Otto Porter, a first-round pick that turned into Franz Wagner, and a 2023 first. They gave the Bulls a D, a Magic an A.
Yeah.
The Sixers trade for James Harden.
I'm not a Harden.
Harden and Millsap for Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and Ben Simmons, and a first-round pick. They gave both teams a D.
Yeah, I'm not a Harden guy, but they didn't really give up a ton.
They should have had that Jared Allen trade in there.
Well, Allen was part of the deal, not like straight up. Aaron Gordon to the Nuggets. Aaron Gordon, Gary Clark for Gary Harris, R.J. Hampton, and a first-round pick. They gave the Nuggets an A+. They didn't even grade the Magic. And the last one was not a blockbuster. I don't even know why.
The Cavs won that Harden trade.
Yeah.
The Cavs
that was a
easily-
different trade, right?
No, that was the same trade. They just
No.
highlighted that part of it, right?
No. They got him when he got traded to Brooklyn.
Right.
Right.
Not
So I'm
from
saying
Brooklyn
that
to-
package should have been part of that 10-year, that last decade that they listed.
Oh, it should. Yeah, they should. They should
Yeah,
have
because the
done
Cavs
that. Yeah.
and nobody expected the Cavs to come out winners in that
he was a
particular
throw-in.
trade.
He was a throw-in.
He was, yeah. I mean, they got him for
Literally nothing.
a first-round pick, right?
Because Kenny Atkinson was pretty much forced to play DeAndre Jordan.
Not pretty much.
He was forced to.
Forced to play DeAndre Jordan, and he wanted to play Jared Allen, and he was overruled. And that's how Jared Allen ended up here. Now they're reunited, and it's a
Feels so
perfect
good.
love story. Yeah. It's,
Everybody got contracts this offseason. Everybody got a deal.
That's
except
right.
Titus.
That's right. Tyrese got his contract yesterday, didn't he?
Oh, he did say he signed his new deal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tyrese got his
deal.
contract during the show.
Yeah, Tyrese got some money on him.
I don't have a contract. Actually, I do.
You got a contract?
I got a year and a half left. The Athletic.
Got a contract?
Till December.
Same. We free agents out here. But that's okay, though. The stats look good.
Start posturing.
Those stats look good, so we'll be all right.